Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. Subscribe if you want to subscribe. Leave any comments. I do read all my comments and try to answer them. If you leave any questions, I try to answer all those questions to the best of my ability. But more often than not, I love the comments where it comes down to feedback, leaving great feedback about the content I'm giving or the on the video itself, basically, or the channel itself. My channel is basically mostly on random hodgepodge stuff and such. Honestly, it's not focused on one thing or another. It's just based on what I'm hearing, stuff I'm seeing, and such. Trying to create sort of like a podcast type of thing, basically, more than anything else. But in any case, I was it's related to the whole DCU universe now. Honestly, I don't know. It looks like it's going to be a complete mess. Having James Gunn become so co-CEO of it, is it the right move? I honestly don't know. I mean, maybe, maybe not. Who knows? I mean, Zack Snyder. They tried to do Zack Snyder, and like he tried to build the DCU to what it was, and it didn't work. James Gunn, I think, because of the fact that he took Guardians of the Galaxy, made them what they are, and then he took the second version of the second movie, the sequel to Suicide Squad, and made a little bit more than what the first one was. I think DC is like Warner Brothers was figuring out, hey, look, you know what? Let's just make him head of this production for the DC Comics and let him build off from there. At that point, I want to say that's maybe not the greatest idea, to be quite honest. I think it's more of a case where like you want to take fans, absolute true fans of the DC world, and adapt to those aspects of what the comics were. I think people are looking for what the comics were, basically. I mean, yeah, you had some aspects of like lightheartedness and such, or more of a comedic feel to it. But then after Tim Burton came out with Batman with Michael Keaton, who I always think is not the original. I always think of Adam West as the original. But as far as with Michael Keaton and bringing that dark edge to it, and then Christopher Nolan bringing it, with his version of Batman. I think everyone started to want to see more of that form of comic book styles eras, and it was almost there for a while there. The only thing is like the fact that with Iron Man, Avengers, and such, with Whedon and everyone else, basically adding aspects of comedy to it or lightheartedness, created that aspect, and I think that's what they tried to do with the I want to say the Justice League's version where Josh Whedon tried to create it. It didn't work out because of that, because of the lightheartedness that they tried to put in play, and it didn't work. Zack Snyder's version, yeah, I liked it. I will say I did like it, but I don't think it was to the truest sense of what the DC comics were. I think honestly, if to be quite honest, I'm a little surprised that no one's Warner Brothers is not doing this. I'm not sure why. I don't know, because it's crazy or something like that. But honestly, I think the perfect person that would fit the bill to rebuild the DC universe is really Kevin Smith. This is a true comic book nerd, true comic book aficionado, the guy that knows almost everything about it, and loved watching all these movies. Loved like the Flashpoint aspect, and like would love to have brought that in place as well too. And like I know he would bring Superman to the aspect of what Superman should be. I'm surprised that they've not like basically let Kevin Smith handle the DC universe. It's really surprising, honestly. People aren't honest, and I'm like, why is that? And I don't know. There might be some like thing, backstory behind this, between the Warner Brother execs and and Kevin Smith. I don't know, or it could be the fact that Kevin Smith has his own production company. I don't know what it may be, but in any case, I honestly believe that Kevin Smith would have been the perfect person for this, but I don't know why they don't. And I don't think I'm the only one that. Uh, uh, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that thinks this as well too. I'm pretty sure there are others that think that Kevin Smith would be the perfect person to lead up the DCU universe and create the DC universe. I think his vision would work to the sense of being applicable to true comic book fans. Um, it's again, I'm not sure. I mean, if Kevin Smith sees this, it's more of a case where like I'm a true fan of some of his a lot of his movies, a lot of his work. to be quite honest. And I think honestly, if I were to see, if Smith were to do a remake or reboot or restart, or not even a restart actually, you know what, he could just do the whole little timeline aspect, like the fact that there's alternate universes that's been opened up now. If this Flash movie does play out with the Flashpoint series, you can do the whole thing. Then you're like, okay, you know what, everyone else, like Zack Snyder's version, blah, and Reeves version, etc., they've all done that. Kevin Smith could be, universe number 83 or whatever it may be, and create his version, and maybe bring it to the true sense of the comic books of Earth Prime or whatever it may be. Um, that would be great. That could be another aspect as well too. Instead of it being a reboot, it's just another alternate. Um, but I don't know. We'll see basically. But yeah, I don't know what others think about this. I mean, with James Gunn taking over the DCU and like firing Henry Cavill. I mean, honestly, I thought Cavill was a good Superman. Uh, was he the ideal Superman? Yes or no? But you know what? We'll wait and see. Honestly, there might be some other people that could be play Superman even better, a young version of him, basically. I mean, if they open up again, like I don't want to say Smallville was a great TV show, but the premise of what it was supposed to be, of more of Clark Kent growing up as a teenager, discovering his powers, versus like trying, okay, you know what, let's like mash them all in like for nostalgia's sake and such, like knowing his future and such, like it was more of like letting this person discover who he is and discover what it was. I think if they did something like that with the movies, like a little bit like what Smallville was trying to do, and same thing, like with Batman initially, with the first Batman movie that Nolan created, showing how Bruce Wayne learned and such. I mean, how he became who he was. I think by doing that with the Superman version, it might help out in the long term. But at the same time, also with all the other superheroes as well, too. To be quite honest, it's a case where like if they'd done that exact same thing like with Star Trek Enterprise as well too. It's going a little a little tangent here, but on Enterprise, first time of basically forming of the Federation, space exploration. They had the opportunity, so many opportunities to work around that, but they just goofed and dropped the ball on it to the point where it was more of a case where like they're like, what, let's just throw in a bunch of stuff for the old nostalgia sake, basically from that '60s Star Trek, and just dump them all in. In reality, they could have like worked so much on it, and they didn't, sadly. And that's why I think Battlestar Galactica, the revised version, did really well. That's why it did really well because they were. I felt like that was what Star Trek Enterprise should have been, to be quite honest, in a ways. Some of the subject matters that they were tackling on head on, which Enterprise didn't want to do, or Star Trek Enterprise didn't want to do. That show, that is. But coming back, I think that's the same thing with DC and Warner Bros. I think they don't want to tackle some of the hard subjects that are out there. If they could and did, I think you'd see a whole new genre of fans coming on board as well too. And I think that's why with Smith, if he would head it up a little bit, I think he would bring in these subject matters which shouldn't elicit a lot of things, but it will make open some people, not open some people's eyes, but moreover create some more questions and open up a dialogue at that point. Um, that's why I don't know, maybe not, who knows, I could be wrong about that. I mean, like, I loved Dogma, to be quite honest. Dogma was a great movie. I mean, outside of Clerks and Chasing Amy and such, yeah, Mallrats was a little bit of a disappointment. That was more of, it seemed like more of a commercial more than anything else. But Dogma I thought was really really good. And then from that perspective, I think if Smith were to work off the aspects of it, well, if he were given the reins of DCU for that matter, actually, I think we could see a resurgence in the DC world over the Marvel world. I mean, I'm beginning to get a little bit of Marvel fatigue, to be quite honest. Even Star Wars fatigue, to be quite honest. I mean, Kenobi, yes, the Kenobi series I did watch, which was good. Andor, I haven't got a chance to watch it yet. I mean, I should, but it's just a little bit of Star Wars fatigue right now. So I'm just trying to like ease myself back into it later on. Like maybe give myself some time with some other stuff to watch, and then basically watch that at that point. So the Flash on CW, as well as Supergirl and Arrow, Green Arrow, and DC Legends. I mean, I think they will try to do what Marvel tried to do, basically, create, TV shows around it. I mean, honestly, I think they should just scale back a little bit and then like slowly build it up again, basically from there. But that's my opinion, basically. Again, I don't. It's not something I suggest. Not a suggestion or such, but it is my opinion. Um, Let me know what you guys think about it. About the DC universe as James Gunn being that new head, and like, do you think it'll be good or not? Do you think maybe if James Gunn actually brings in Kevin Smith, will that work or not? Um, but anyways, leave a comment if you wish to, and also subscribe. Um, with that, as I normally end it off with, unfiltered, unedited, and unrehearsed. Until next time.